You are listening to Crime Unraveled, a Buck Taylor novel by Chuck Morgan.
Chapter 33. Buck sat in his Jeep and waited for the cavalry to arrive. He had found the button behind the counter that opened the gate and pushed it. Back in his Jeep, he read through the investigation file and added notes from his conversation with Dr. Ratzenberger and the details of what he found at the demo office. He looked in the mirror as two Eagle County Sheriff's Department SUVs pulled through the gate, followed by the coroner's van. Effective in 2024, the Colorado legislature passed HB 24-1100. The act required a coroner of a county with a population greater than 150,000 who was elected on or after November 5, 2024, to be either a death investigator certified by and in good standing with the American Board of Medical Legal Death Investigators, or a forensic pathologist certified by and in good standing with the American Board of Pathology. Unlike in the medical examiner system, and since the coroner did not have to be a doctor, in smaller counties, coroners would contract with a licensed forensic pathologist to handle any investigations that required an autopsy. These forensic pathologists were trained doctors who split their time among several jurisdictions to keep costs down. Many forensic pathologists were current or former medical examiners, and several were retired, working part-time to keep their hands in the game. Dr. Charlene Maxwell slid out of the coroner's van and walked up to Buck standing next to his Jeep. Her assistant slid out of the passenger seat, walked to the back of the van, and pulled out new packages of Tyvek coveralls, booties, and masks. Charlene shook hands with Buck. "Looks like you get me, Buck," she said with a smile. "Charlene, good to see you." Dr. Charlene Maxwell was heavy-set with black hair tied in a ponytail. She'd received her medical training at the University of California and had served as the assistant medical examiner for Los Angeles County. When she retired 2 years ago, she moved to Avon, Colorado, to be near her grandchildren. She now volunteered as the backup forensic pathologist for Eagle County. She was a cheerful woman, and she was enjoying her retirement. "You guys are keeping us busy today." She punched Buck in the arm. "Good to see you, Buck. Wanna tell me what we've got?" She put on the Tyvek suit her assistant handed her while Buck described the scene. She pulled on her gloves and put on her mask. "Give me a few minutes," she said, and she and her assistant stepped through the door. Buck called over the two deputies. Deputy Critch was a short black woman with a firm grip and beautiful eyes. Deputy Crandall was white, tall, and well-built. They both looked like they had spent some time in the military. Buck asked Crandall to stand guard while the pathologist worked, and asked Critch to follow him. They walked towards the warehouse. They stepped up to the door, which stood open. Buck looked at Critch. "Deputy, I believe this is an explosives warehouse. If we run into a problem, check your line of fire. I'd like to avoid blowing up half the county." Critch nodded, pulled her pistol and held it in the low ready position. Buck pulled his pistol and pushed open the door, moving right while Critch moved left. The warehouse was huge. Part of it contained various vehicles and equipment used for the demo business, and there was a separate fenced-off space towards the back with a caution sign over the door. Buck pointed towards the left and Critch stepped away, pistol forward, while Buck moved down the first row of equipment. He found the first body propped up against the tire of a small excavator, a bullet hole in his knee, and one in the side of his head. Buck kneeled and checked for a pulse, even though he knew it was pointless. He'd started moving when Critch yelled for him. Buck walked towards a small service door next to the fenced secure area. Critch was standing next to a young man with long blonde hair now caked with dried blood. He was lying on his chest and had a wound in his back and one in the back of his head. "Looks like he was trying to get away when he bought it," said Critch. "Yeah," said Buck. Critch made the sign of the cross. They spent the next half hour clearing the building, and then walked back to the office to give Dr. Maxwell the news that they had 2 more bodies. Sheriff Al Hartman had arrived while Buck and Critch were clearing the warehouse. He stepped out of the office, removed his nitrile gloves, and shook Buck's hand. "Pretty bad day," he said. "Is this all related to the rock slide?" It's looking more and more that way, said Buck. Forensics is finishing up at the mine site. I'll wait till they get here. You've got enough to do. I'll let you know if we find anything useful. We need to inventory the explosives and see what's missing, and we need a sample of the RDX if they have any, said Buck. You okay if I call Franklin and his team to assist? No problem, Buck. I called Roger's other son. He's on his way. He can do the inventory. What a fucking shame. Roger was a pain in the ass sometimes, but he would give you the shirt off his back. What a waste. Buck pulled out his phone and dialed the director. Buck? Sir. Gonna need that chopper back. What's going on? Asked the director. Just found 4 bodies at a local demolition company. All were shot earlier today. I'm gonna need Franklin and his team. Buck, Bax just called me because she couldn't reach you. Are her 2 bodies related to yours? Buck looked at his phone. Shit, Bax. She called while we were clearing the warehouse. I need to call her back. Has she identified the bodies? Pathologist just got there. Give her a call, and I'll call Franklin and get the chopper ready. Buck. What the hell is going on? I think someone is cleaning house. I'll call you when we know more. Bax, said Buck as she answered her phone. Sorry. We were clearing the demo company warehouse. Have you ID'd the bodies? Yeah, said Bax. We have a problem. The bodies belong to Ramon Velasquez and a guy named William Heinrich. Buck was quiet. He turned to Sheriff Hartman. Al, can we hold on to the deputy you sent with Bax? I don't want her making the notification on her own. Sheriff Hartman nodded. Okay, Bax. Once the pathologist confirms the IDs, go ahead and make the notification. Take Sergeant Reed, said Bax. Take Sergeant Reed with you. Al said it's okay. You're in good hands. I've known Isaac for a long time. Okay, Buck. What are you gonna be doing? As soon as Franklin arrives, I'm heading back to Glenwood Springs. Call Paul and have him start deep background on the Heinrich guy. He paused for a second. What the hell were they doing at an old mine tunnel, and how did they end up dead? Maybe Gabriela Velasquez can tell me. Okay. Bax. Stay in touch. He disconnected the call and clipped his phone back onto his belt. 2 hours after Buck called the director, a Kang Blackhawk helicopter flew up the valley, crossed over the security fence, and landed in the yard between the office and the warehouse. Franklin and 2 of his forensic techs climbed out of the chopper, grabbed their gear, and waved to the pilot as the chopper lifted off and headed back to Grand Junction. Buck, what have we got? Asked Franklin. 2 bodies in the office, both shot. 2 bodies in the warehouse, also shot. The pathologist has cleared the bodies. Once you guys are finished, the paramedics will transport them to Avon for autopsy. Check in with the forensic team from Eagle County and see where they need you. Bag up all the electronics, and I'll get those to Paul. I'll get the bullets at the autopsy. You got it, Buck. Why don't you get out of here for a few hours and get some food and rest? You look beat. Thanks, Franklin. I'll check in later. Buck walked to his Jeep, slid in and pulled out of the parking lot. He knew a great little restaurant in Gypsum, so he decided to head there. He'd catch a couple of hours of sleep in his Jeep, and then head back up to hook up with Franklin. Tomorrow was going to be a rough day.
Thank you for listening to this chapter of Crime Unraveled, a Buck Taylor novel by Chuck Morgan. You can find the entire crime series as well as other novels by Chuck Morgan at chuckmorganbooks.com or on Amazon.